Okay, hey, my name is Blake Moore. I'm on Team Cobalt Acolyte, and this is going to be my showcase for my tasks that I worked on this current sprint for our game of Varger. So, my main tasks here, let me go on get in here. I'm going to be playing on controller. We started implementing that this sprint, and I feel like it makes the gameplay feel like it flows a little bit better. Let me come down to my. Alright, so I mainly worked on rebalance or changing the way that the combat works. Changing the way that the combat works, because it was just kind of like a run, bite, kind of. It didn't have much feeling behind it. So I tasked myself with changing the way the enemies work and changing the way the combat works and giving the players some more options on how they fight things. So come over here first. So first off, my main thing was rework the enemy AI. Need to rework the way BP basic enemy works so we can build off of it to make more interesting encounters for the player. And a start overhaul. So as a player, I want to engage in rewarding combat system to make encounters with enemies have more dynamic. I'm just showing the overview of them right here. I'm going to go through each individual subtask here. So start out doing the overhaul combat system. So I want to redo the way the player attacks and start up a base. So the completion criteria for that was disconnect the current way of tracking elemental damage, start implementing a combat system, build a combo system, and have combo system easy to adjust moving forward. That was all kind of stuff that's in the code and stuff. So I'll show where that gets implemented right here. So put together a combo system for how the player attacks, combinations of light attacks closed off with a heavy attack. So we're going to have a base heavy attack, a light 1, heavy 1, a light 1, light 2, heavy, and then that makes it the heavy 2. And each of these heavies at the end of these different strings of combos will do a different amount of damage. So go back into the game. So if you see up there in the top left corner, I have it to where it'll show. So there's a solo heavy attack. That is light 1. Light 1 followed with a heavy is a light heavy combo. Light 1, light 2, light light heavy combo. And light 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 heavy is a light 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 heavy combo. And also have in, if you do just 4, it puts you into a full light combo. Alright, so that's that. You move on to the next one. So I'll show that one next. Let me first. Yeah. So create a system to assist the player with targeting the enemy. Attacks move towards the targeted enemy. So when the player attacks away from an enemy player, it moves them forward so they feel that attack that they're doing. And then when the player, while next to an enemy, will assist the player with turning towards the enemy. And so, if you notice, when I do an attack, it lunges me a little bit. But say, let me come over here and I'll just. So you'll notice with this bear, whenever I am sitting next to it, but if I'm looking at it, it'll adjust my the wolf so that I can hit it better. See, it'll help turn the player to help them be able to do that. It'll assist the player with aiming. Okay. And then next, so that's that. Balance the damage. So this isn't necessarily a balancing task. It's more so balance the damage and ranges of the different combinations of attack. Make sure the flow feels good. This is to set a base amount of damage for the player to have a starting point for future balancing tasks starting next sprint. So right now I just have it. The light attack still 10 damage. Single heavy does 20, and the way that the combo increases is a heavy after a single light is 18. A heavy after 2 is 16, and then a heavy after 4 is, after 3 is 14. And so basically your combo damages, these different combos do 23, 36, 44. I forgot to put in the full light, which is 40 damage, and it brings out your average damage per combo to 32. And so that allows with balancing some boss encounters and enemies. Like, so the average combo length should be, we want to kill this in 2 combos, 2.5 combos. It just helps get a starting point. So I'll show where you can see where they're doing different amounts of damage. Let me come over here back to the bear. You'll notice the light and then followed by a heavy will do more damage. You saw that chunk right there. Let me restart this level, get him some more health back. And I will show that the way that the combos are stringed together, they just do different damage amounts. So that solo heavy does double the amount of damage of a single light. And yeah, so there's that. Just all those different numbers are stringed together. Next, connect the howl to the rage meter. Have it cause an effect based on currently selected element. So the base howl will stun, the fire howl burns over time, an ice howl slows enemy, and lightning howl does repeated burst damage. So come back into here. Let me select the level again. Let me go ahead and pick all these up. These are the things that are locked in to the behind bosses and stuff in the game. Go ahead and get full rage. So if I come in here with just the basic rage, so now my howl is tied to this. So when he's coming, hit him with that, he's now stunned. The stun goes through for a second, and then he picks back up. Let me get rage again. Fire. With the fire, he is now taking fire damage over time, so it's this boar over here. Okay. And then ice slows, so the mountain line is good to show that because it's really fast. So it's coming at you, you slow it, it now comes at you a whole lot slower. And then it'll pick back up its speed. See, now it's back to its normal speed. And then lightning is a continuous damage over time. It's burst damage. Let me go ahead and run to a stronger enemy just to kind of showcase that. This is one of the ones that probably needs the most balancing. Let me just go over here so you can just see that it's a continuous pulse of damage. Yes, see. So it's a continuous pulse of damage that stops after pulsing, and the damage is just, it's up there right now, but it's working as intended. Okay, so got all that stuff in. Balance the damage and rate. Okay, so that's the base combos. Put together combo system. Redo the player attack. Okay, so that's all that. Let me go into the enemies. So our old prey AI would not react to the player attacking it. So that task says they will try to run away from the player when attacked. So let me get over here. So if I attack this deer, it now runs away. It tries to get away from me, making the player have more of a trying to get run them down. Same with the rabbits. They're now, everything's trying to run away from the wolf after you attack it. Okay. So that's that. So that's the base prey. Alright, so I want to rework the base enemy. This is the bear. It's said to have child blueprints created from it. It attacks the player, will properly chase the player, and have it give the player more of a challenge by increasing its speed, adjusting hit points and damage. So originally the bear, it would just run, or take a step, swipe, take a step, swipe, and I wanted to fix that to where it actually felt like a bear trying to run you down. Alright, so now coming at me, and it'll attack me. it does damage, but it's not overwhelming to the player, and in about a little over 2 combos it's usually done, because they're a little more tanky. And then, let me do this one. Create a mountain lion enemy, so a fast enemy that charges at the player and deals damage at a faster rate. Create a mountain lion enemy. Mountain lion runs at you faster than a bear does. When approaching the player, will try to attack with a double swipe, hitting the player twice. The second attack deals less damage than the first strike. So this, the mountain lion, you'll notice, watch my health, it goes down twice. And that second attack deals less than the first. Because if you haven't noticed, as I'm sprinting, it does this little leap. On the controller, connected to the sprint, it's starting the implementation of a dodge, basically. So if the player times that dodge right, they take advantage, or they avoid that big damage, but if they're late on it, then they can avoid the small damage. And they're easier to defeat, about 1.5 combos, 1.25 combos to kill them, as opposed to a little over 2 combos for the bear. Next would be let me go ahead and do this boss enemy. Alright, so create a boss enemy that's very tanky, hits very hard, has different abilities. So create a polar bear boss. Boss has a lot more health than a normal enemy bear. Boss has multiple attacks it can choose from. Boss will have a base attack swipe. Boss will do an AoE roar that slows the player, and boss will call down icicles that spawn and damage the player if they hit the player. So this is a bigger bear that has a lot more health and does a lot more damage, and it will have different attacks based on the let me go ahead and pick this up. It'll have different attacks that it cycles through and selects. Yeah, just go like this. So here's the polar bear. Go ahead and get forward. You see, it'll come at me. It has a lot more health than that. It hits harder. It's calling down icicles. I take damage if they land on me. And there's the roar that slows me down. I can still hit it with all the effects, such as the stun. See, I got slowed right there. It slowed me, but that eventually wears off, and I can go back into fighting and having this boss encounter. So, I mean, it gives the player a challenge, and I like that. Okay, so moving on from that boss, let's go ahead and go to the wolf enemy. Create a wolf enemy for later levels to provide a challenge to the player. Create a boss that will spawn wolves in combat. So I'm going to have a base wolf that is fast but doesn't do more damage than a bear. A wolf boss with more health than normal enemies, has a base attack, and will summon other wolves during combat to attack the player. So the thought with the basic design of the wolves is they're not super overwhelming by themselves, and it's when you get groups of them that they start causing more problems and stuff, because so the attacks, they don't hit too hard, and they don't have too much health. So after that, let me go ahead and switch back to none. Let me go ahead and showcase the wolf boss. Just bringing this back up here, wolf boss. The wolf boss will come at you, attack you, call in some wolves. This also gives the player a chance to heal up health while fighting, because every time they defeat an enemy, it gets healed up a little bit. And so the wolf is doing some damage, and will eventually call in more wolves. Gives the player a chance to heal up, get some health, keep comboing, dodge some attacks, stun him, and then as soon as he is done, no more wolves are going to be spawned in, because he's the one calling them in, while checking what attack he should do. All of the special attacks on the bosses are tied behind cooldowns, and it'll cycle through if it tries to do it again until the cooldown is up. Let me see anything else to showcase here. That's the mountain lion. That's the bear boss. Uh, so basically, just I wanted to work on balancing some health and damages. This is to start a baseline of health and damage numbers to have a starting point for my balance testing in the next sprint. So just go through each enemy and just kind of fill it out. So it makes just make sure each encounter kind of feels fair to the designer to have a starting point for the data collection. Because I'm gonna have more time to actually get play testers and test out all the fine tuning of the damages. I just wanted to get a base starting point. Like, okay, so the bear's gonna be 2.5 combos. The wolf's gonna be a little under a combo. The mountain's a little over a combo. Um, and say like a boss, I want it to be 10 combos average. Um, and then put together a showcase level to build and showcase the new combat. So the level has all elemental totems, level has health and damage increase totems, level has an area showcasing the prey animals in the game, level has an area showcasing each of the enemies in the game, and level has an area showcasing both of the bosses in the game. And so that is this little level that I put together here. You got the prey over there, got the base enemies over there, along with the wolf over there. You got the bosses through there, the elemental totems, so I can test out each elemental totem because it's going to be implementing damages based on elements later on. Health, uh, these increase, and damage increases. And that's probably it. My name's Blake Moore. Thanks for watching the things that I worked on this sprint. All right, thank you.
Hello, my name is Nick Keiholtz, and I am a member of Team Cobalt Acolyte. Today I'll be showing you the tasks I've been working on for the last couple weeks and show you what they look like in the game. So my first and my biggest task was uh, I was designated level designer, so I put the task design levels 1, 2, 3, and 4. That consisted of having players start, making better use of the game space, setting up the IPM through levels 1, 2, 3, 4, and even 5, even though another teammate was working on it to make sure or make it make more sense. So not one level was introducing, and then it wasn't getting practice, like wall run wasn't getting used again until the end of the game. So went back through and kind of laid out a little bit better. We're still in the progress of doing more play tests to get feedback on what can improve each level. So I did go. I'll go ahead and show you my level one subtasks or level design subtasks, which was first off play through the entire game to find a base on how long it took to go from start to finish, which came out to be 27 minutes before we changed the combat system to something completely different. With the level and experience, it took a lot longer of a playthrough. So we were already in the progress of switching it up, making it a little bit faster paced because that was a design pillar of ours, was to keep it fast paced, and this new style seems to fit that better. First subtask was layout level 1, Journey to the Rockies. That is uh, the introduction level to a lot of stuff. So you got tutorials, which was the PMI we put in just to kind of let players, see, read. You can find out how to use the controls. There's not a whole lot of anything more than learning those basic controls. There's a wall run, which there's level blockers and stuff. So we got a new jump, and the jump is a lot higher with the animation on it. So having to go back through and make sure you cannot jump over specific obstacles, whereas before we knew you couldn't because the ruler was fitting for that jump. So it's kind of a last minute add. I was asked to put the jump animation on, and uh, so all I did was set up the same kind of as it was before. It was the introduction to a lot of things. You're learning that the fire stick can be transferred to a unlit pile, and then it can light the fire. The wall run. Let's see if it's okay. So it is. It's the animation. It made it a little funky, and it needs its own um, animation too. There's checkpoints set up. That was made by Sean. And I just kind of went through anything they made. I placed in the levels. I did make a little say obstacle is to kind of push the player to the wall run itself. If they decided to go forward, there's some falling boulders. They do hurt the player if they get hit. And I just set up the path. So this level in particular has 3 paths. Each go and merge to the end of the level. The player could choose this one, which is practicing the wall run. This over here to the right is practicing the wall run. And then over here to the left is a little bit different. This is just a kind of keep practicing with the flame stick and the throwing of the rocks after you were introduced to him. So this player can go here, get some rocks, and then uh, they want to break the wall. Then they're going to go run up here, grab the flaming stick, and then they're going to go back down here. So this is, like I said, just laid it out. I put the trees in place of the blueprint trees that were made that weren't really, even though they were blocking at ground level, they did not have kind of what we needed in the game to showcase this since our game was outdoor. And that meant uh, the ability to have the tree branches, which are in play when it comes to the beehive pickups. The blocking itself, I didn't want the trees to block in the, in the. This is a lot. Like I said, the jump animation has kind of made the wall run just a little bit off. It was working smoothly. So again, the end is set up the same. Player can load out of the level here by pressing E, and then load in level 2. So this takes me to my next task, or my next subtask, which is the laying out level 2. For the most part, this was my level in the beginning. I added the diagrams for each of the players' levels inside the task itself, so I had something to refer back to, so I could see what each teammate's idea was of their level. All the taskings, the completion criteria are mostly the same. You have the setting up the IPM, getting better player-facing information in the levels, letting them know what's going on. And this level, I did a little changing. I put some tents in. Before it was just kill, I think 10 rabbits, or I might have changed it 5 then. But there was no real other obstacle. I put some totems in here and gave the tutorial bubbles to let the player know, that totems are good to collect. If you find them, collect them. They will help you progress through the level. So the objectives on this level is the only level with objectives. That's going to change. I asked the other guys if they wanted objectives throughout the whole game because I was willing to ditch the objectives because it was the only spot you see them thinking. So they want to keep them in, and we'll implement them through the levels. I have not got a chance to do that yet. So that's something we're going to do. There is, kill bear boss or something, but as far as like actual the enemy and stuff, there's not a whole lot of, like you said, just in this level. So I totally missed. So whenever you kill the 5 deer, the UI changes. Everything again kind of the same as the last build, except for the visuals. The tree blockers, like I said, they come into play in the sense that I did want the player to be able to venture a little bit into the woods. I didn't want it to feel so restricted that you were just kind of bouncing off a invisible barrier when you ran into that tree line. I don't want them to go super far. Some areas I have it popped out more than others. This level, or this area here, is set up as the introduction for the beehive pickups, so there's plenty of them for the player to go around and pick up. You can just take out the tent. You can pick them up and you can throw them around. This will help you kill the deer. Get the objective done, and you do get stung if you run into the bees. So we'll just kill these deer real quick, and then I did set up again in each of these levels. There is a you'd say like the burn pit is almost like a little puzzle obstacle for each player to do before they are able to progress to the next level. Like this one in general, there's a burning bush here, or a burnable bush here now at the end. And even though you complete the objectives, you have to do the flaming stick. So it's a good introduction. Keep practicing, or I'm sorry, good practice on the flaming stick throwing, and that is trying to get it down to where you can. I was way better at this the other day, but you can basically launch the stick and learn how to hit things from a distance. Oh, I almost got it. All right. Since we got this jump on here, you can kind of, you can kind of fudge it because the stick burns out after 4 seconds. So that's it. Yeah, there we go. All right, so um, again, I could play through all the levels because I laid out all the levels up to level 5. This video might, it'd be a lot longer, so I will, yeah, I'll finish this level real quick, show you. I changed the end as far as the bison, or the boss. There's just the boss in the end level after you kill these bison. These bison will be replaced um, with the boars that I think that Blake's making. He's trying to get them to charge and stuff. And right now, these bison, there's no animations for them and stuff. So even if we had the artists come up with the drawing, there's not enough time to animate them out. So we're gonna get one of the enemies that has, that matches these other ones, and I think it's gonna be the boars that I put in this area. So there's a health totem here I put. This will help you get ready for the next area. There is a bear boss you have to kill. So here's the bear boss. He's roaming around. There's 2 totems I put here. And the beehives definitely need to be fixed location-wise. So let's get our health. Now you pick up health, get some extra damage. This is an old enemy boss, so there's quite a few of these ones that are still stuck throughout the maps. We're going to get rid of all the old enemy because Blake was spinning this sprint. He was revamping the enemy up. So once the bear is killed, the totem spawns here, lets the player see a direction to go. Now you can press 2 to put on the flaming thing in there. Just reminds you and tells you, um, applies to the howl attack. Oops. But yeah, he's revamped all the enemies, so I have to go through and replace the ones that are still old, and I think most people do. So this was another level. I did it I just try to match each level. Kind of added the background mountains in this one, trying to match it to what the rest of the game looks like, and you will see that up till for almost all the levels. The last level is Snowy Peaks that Matt was working on, and that one will be, and it'll have like snow-capped mountains and stuff. So um, there's no objectives on this one in this area or anything. It's go find the. All right, so there's the burnable bush. Again, just use the trees besides the ones that are in the backdrop for the background. These are all barriers to block off each playable area. So go down here. So you can use the bobcats. So I will show you. That's one of my tasks is the animations and on the bobcat the blueprint. So I'll show you that here shortly after I finish showing you this. So this level real quickly. Don't really have to finish it off because I didn't. There's no difference in the boss fights itself. But again, we just set up the boundaries. There's still some areas here, like I say, you can see through here. You can get through to a specific point, which is all right. We kind of wanted that feeling of it being a explorable area to a point, and he got his polar bear boss. This is one of the newer bosses. I believe the other students are showing one of them showing it off in his. So I will go ahead and do level select and show you the next one, which was the Whispering Sands. This level I did lay out as well. Again, what I did is mainly go through and try to match up the background mountains. Sean had used landscape, so I left that in the back, kind of, if you want to say, ramped the map. You can see from there's a flat spot and then it ramps up. So that way it brought the mountains up taller. He set up the puzzles and everything, so it's got to let him cover that in his tasks. I would just show you the different pathways that I set up, and I built out this cave here. Show you this one real quick. So while I'm in there, let me pause this. So go back to my tasks. Level 3, same thing that I did for the other ones. I didn't go on this one, but so level 3 is the same thing. Like I said, I'm going through. I have the diagram. I looked at everybody's diagram as carefully as I could to try to find out their idea, their vision. And then ran it by them when I did it. I didn't just go in and go to town on what I wanted to do. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't taken away from their idea. And for the most part, all of their levels I did. I just might have shrunk up the playable space a little bit or filled in the areas that were blank. So one of my other tasks that I was asked to do was create animation blueprints. So this is my main task for that, which was, I just put in there I'm gonna add another state in the player. So this was for the player's jump. I will, just show you this real quick. Make sure I'm not gonna die. Get this birdie. So this is another one. I'll show you the Cougars. I'll restart the level and show you that task. That's just, animation blueprint. Nothing. Um, so the player. All right. So the jump while idle. Just put two jump animations and then jump while running. It still needs some work. If you, I don't have it blending just right. If you hit attack, it's a pain in the butt. Hit attack while you're in the air. So like if I jump, it's still got some locking motions. Right now it's just, I believe, going off of the time left on the animation inside the state machine. It was kind of a new way of setting it up. I just wanted to try it out versus setting up is jumping in the player when you hit the space key and setting it to true. I did it all in the animation and just again time to test it out. It might be changed. Uh, depending on how well it just needs some sharpening to it. So that was, let me go to that task real quick. That was create the animation blueprint for that. It was pretty much just doing, I can't open up the graph to show you, but it was adding a idle jump from the idle inside the state machine, and then a running jump from the running state while running. And then the other animations that I did, let's see. So I was asked to do animation blueprint for the mountain lion enemy, and that I did that as well. Um, that one you can see. Let me just restart this level real quick. You can see that it's not all, nothing really crazy. It just has walking, running, uh, turn. The attack was, I think, already set up in there. And then that goes to cover one other one, the sound effects task that I had. So that was the animation blueprint for the mountain lion enemy. Which one this was for? So pretty much the cougar and the wolf are the two things I did the animations on. And then I was asked to do sound effects to have some for the bear and the cougar. I did that. We'll go back and listen to the bear, but basically the cougar, you can hear that one now whenever it's attacking. Um, you can hear that. I just put it, play. I think Blake did go in and make it a little bit better working with the attack. So the animation and the sound effects. So again, just I laid out the levels. I went through, put the assets we've been using throughout the whole maps, and made the levels kind of try to fit that through the whole thing. So let me just show you real fast. The bear sound effects would be, and I just put in these. Like I said, they were only on the bear and the mountain lion. So the bear makes sense. So, let's see what other ones. I mean, that's pretty much it. As far as after this round of play testing, these level design tasks will most likely be enhanced, and there's a lot of things that will be changed. The task I didn't get to was just making footprint sound effects, and then I wanted to replace the current nature sound effect because this one has like an angry bee that chases you at some point that is in there. So again, my main goal was to outline the playable areas, to fill in the playable, or make better use of the playable space, and then add the player-facing information. And that was, certain levels. It was adding tents, showing them direction to go, trying to make the level not so blended, I guess, since there's so many trees. Trying to say, this is the direction you're wanting to go, and not just let them running in loops. I think the objectives on all levels, like I said, I think they're going to be added in. Everybody seemed to be all right with that, so that there's uniformity across. So that's my video for today. Again, I showed you all my tasks, which was designing level 1, 2, 3, 4, laying the Mac out from block mesh state to a little bit more detailed version. The next move is going to be to finish polishing it off. The grass, again, was just a polish off, just to there was a green grid on there, and I wanted to use the landscape paint that was used in level one when Blake did his level. I liked it because it helped path out the level really well. You could see it. So this one might not have dirt paths per se coming from the cave showing you left and right, but they're gonna have certain areas like where the fire pit is, and it hopefully will break up just all the green. So thanks again for joining me. My name is Nick Kyholtz, and I appreciate your time.
Hello everyone, my name is Adrian Gonzalez, and today I will be going over the tasks that I completed for this sprint of our Varg project. So, one of the last things that I did, but the very first thing that we will go over is I revamped the UI. So, we decided to go from a mouse and keyboard setup to a controller setup for the game. So, I had to make it so that the UI would work with a controller. And in order to do that, I had to activate the Common UI plugin, set up the pause menu stack widget, set up all new pause menu widgets, set up the main menu stack widget, and set up all the new main menu widgets, as well as activate the controller inputs on all widgets. So I will demonstrate that for you now. So after these title cards, you will see the new main menu. So once I click on this, okay, so there you go. You can just barely see it, but that little highlight around the menu, as long as I don't touch the mouse, around the menu options, the buttons, is a little bit blue. That is showing the selection for the controller. So I can click on like how to play, and it'll tell you all of the, it'll tell you all this, and I can press A, go back. I can select the different levels, as well as go through the options, and I can actually mess with the sliders and set them up to where I want them, which for now I'll put them really low. The controls have not been updated yet. I forgot to do that during this sprint, but they will be updated to also show how you can activate things with the controller. You can go through the credits. You can do everything. You can navigate everything. It's fully integrated to work with a controller. You can start the game. There's also, so that was the main menu. There's the pause menu, which is pretty similar. The only difference is that you can save and load. I will open the next level. This will be able to show better the next couple things. So now that we've gone through revamping the UI, I'll go over reworking the level/mutation system. So I decided to completely scrap, or we decided to completely scrap the leveling system, leveling and mutation system. I forgot to update this. Oh no, I didn't. I just forgot to save it. So in order to do that, I had to remove the level system as well as all the related systems. That meant from the XP giving systems and the enemies to just how leveling up worked in general. I set the mutation selection to be on button press. I added a UI for the new mutation system so it would show you what you are using at the time. I made the mutation select an entire mutation set at once instead of just being, the howl, the swipe, or the bite, as well as I adjusted the size of the FX on the player character based on some feedback that I received. So I will show you that now. So if you go over to these fire totems, ice totems, the ability totems just in general, you can attack them and you'll see it says press 2 to equip. That is also up on the D-pad, but it'll equip that and it'll give you the entire setup all at once. You can see here there's ice mutation, the ice mutation, lightning mutation. This is just the full rage mutation, which will allow you to use the howl and demonstrate that better. We also changed over to, in order for the character to be able to, or the player to level up and be stronger, we added totems that will increase health and damage instead of having to find the best way to balance out that when you through an XP system. originally you had to go to a den to change everything and use your skill points, and it was just going to take a lot of balancing. This helped the flow of the game as well as made it more player friendly. Open the next one. The next thing was revamp and remove the current save system. So what I had to do for this was remove all references to the current save system, transfer the save setup to game instance setup, as originally we had the setup to save between playthroughs. I replaced the references from old save system to the new game instance system, and fixed the issue where a player didn't start a player start. That was caused by the old save system. Now you start where the players start is in the level correctly, and there's no extra loopholes that we have to run through. So now, if you save, let's say that you have fire mutations on, right? You can go in, you can save, you can go back, say I activate lightning mutation, and then you can load, and it'll put the mutation that you had on previously as well as the stats. And this does not work between playthroughs. This is only for the duration that you play the game in one sit down. And the final thing that I did was I changed the air dash setup. So originally the air dash was set to 1 instead of being activated on the shift key, which was the sprint. It also works on the controller. If you just press the sprint button while you're in midair, it'll do it. In order to do that, I had to change the input setup for the air dash from 1 key to the shift key and find a way to get the air dash to activate in air with the sprint input. So to demonstrate that, if you hold this is the sprint button on the controller, it's right trigger. If you then jump in the air and hit the sprint button, you will do the air dash. And that is just to reduce the amount of inputs that was necessary to do that. And that is everything. That is all the tasks that I completed for this sprint. Thank you.
Hello everybody, my name is Sean Ramsey. I'm a part of Team Cobalt Acolytes, and our game is Barber. So today I'm going to be showing you guys the Jira tasks or the mechanics that I've been working on in this sprint. So I guess the first one I can go over will be the HUDs. You can see the main menu here. We had to just go back. So put this here so we'll stop going to that one. HUDs here. So what I did was I removed old HUDs that we didn't need. I removed the map, added in a couple new ones, and basically readjust some of the information that you saw on some of the previous ones. Then of course work history here. Okay, right here. Now let's go back. One thing that I did here, I like to update the tips every so often. What I'm gonna go to is here. We changed this out since it wasn't compatible initially anymore with what we had for the previous version. Also in the options menu, there was some typos here that we just kept forgetting to change. I also updated some of the buttons here, as you can see. Okay, so that's one. There's a couple in game too. I guess I can show you real quick. If you notice, we don't have the level system in the top right, as well as the HUD. The map is gone, which does nothing anymore. And then when you pause, there's no longer a separate menu for the den. So all that has been kind of changed up. So when you get your mutations, you just hit 2, 3, 4, which as you progress through the game, it'll explain that to you. And then as far as the rest of the level, then we don't need it since you no longer level up, have base damage, and base health stats. So that's one thing. Another one we can go over. Talk about those later on. Keybinds. We talk about keybinds a little bit. Once again, work history. Same thing here. I, with the help of the other teammates, this was like a single person job, but we pretty much remapped some of the buttons, what they do, like shift, for example, air dash, because they were in like weird positions. We also added a couple new ones in, and we also added controller keybinds. I would show off controller keybinds now, but for some, I have, since this is like a Xbox quote unquote laptop, I have a PlayStation, so the controller doesn't work properly with mine. So, but I believe if you have either just a universal controller or Xbox, it will work perfectly. The other teammates were able to do so. But as far as keybinds go, I was able to show you that again here in options. And then as you progress in the game, it'll tell you use this button to do that. So those are also all working fine. We can move on to probably mine for the next one. Go here to explain one, the flying enemy. We'll go here. The flying enemy is. I was going to adjust how much damage it has, how much damage it takes, its attack speed. And we also added body to the enemy. Making it fly close to the player is something we're still trying to work on right now. That's the last thing that needs to be done to it. I'll also show off the checkpoint, which I'll go back to in a second. For now, they fly around as normal, and then once they detect the player, they shoot at you. And then they do take less damage. Before they had a lot of health, as you can see, but now they have less. You start this level, I don't want to be aggroed on them. Flip and turn around. Okay. Then we can go over here to talk about the puzzles. Pause so I can show that. Pretty much every level has puzzles. This one has probably more prominent ones, just so it's easy to show off. Some of them were a little bit too easy, so we adjusted them. Some were a bit too hard. Like in the first level, it was a bit of a advanced wall run for the the introductory level, so we adjusted that. Make new ones and later puzzles, which one I'm going to show you now. Again, the workload. So let's go ahead and show off one of those. So you pretty much seen the past where something as simple as using the fire stick to open certain walls as well as the rocks, which is something you can kind of see here. So obviously you would normally just try to throw it and hit the wall, but it's too far away to actually reach from there. So you want to basically try to use this to hit that one over there. It's easy, but it's also a little bit difficult. You gotta get the angle right. You can also aim if you want, but it's a little bit weird. As you can see, I've done this so many times. I kind of know the angle. You can do that, or sometimes you can also just do the wall run, which I include working over that. But you can also do wall run, try to jump, throw it, and hit that, or just throw it and hit this. So that's something you can do, and then from there you would have this, and then open up the wall. So just a quick little puzzle you can see. And I guess talking more about the HUDs from before, we have one for this. So instead of you going back to the thing to open it up, you can just do it directly from here. You press that to activate it, and then your moves have effects. And then we can talk about checkpoints here. Okay, so for checkpoints, make sure it's actually recording. It's recording, okay. So for checkpoints, here, they do exactly what you expect them to. Once you die and respawn, you were loaded at the last checkpoint here. No, it's pretty self-explanatory. Have some weird issues. It was working, but then all of a sudden, say some stuff into the enemy, it just started acting weird. So yeah, but I guess that's it for those. If I die at some point, you probably have to see it, but again, it's a little weird right now. So Moving on, we have. Let's still go to that one. Okay. Flying enemy. I guess we can talk about the flying enemy now. Or did I? I'm pretty sure I talked about it, but just in case. Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure I did. Balance health and damage. I hear about this a little bit. Once again, history. We scroll down through here. Sure that we have it. Alright, so health and damage, pretty simple. Change how much damage they do to the player, how much you take, and then power ups or another one, which is like the health up and the totems. Now, the reason we changed this is because again, beforehand we had a level up system. So as you do damage, you level up and you get more damage that way. But since your base damage stays, you wanted to kind of scale properly. So come over here. Attack dogs, maybe like 10, 20 damage per hit. Birds, for example, seasonal. Well, let's start with. I think they do about 20, 25, and they attack once every couple seconds. And then we, on the other hand, I think we did like what 15, 20 without the upgrades. And yeah. Then we have another one we scaled up was these are this one. Each howl has its own each elemental howl has its own effects. This one does like lightning strikes and does a lot of damage. Fire burns them, it does tick damage, for example. And ice slows them. So we have something skills like that, and then we'll grab this, and I'll show you the boss as well. And then we'll probably just move on. That should be one of the last ones though. But yeah, I guess speaking of damage, we have rocks as well. You know, you can open up the walls and stuff, but you can also deal damage to, and that missed. Okay. Elevation. Bam. See, the boss has a lot of health, but you can damage them with the rocks and such. So as you can see, he does like 30, 40 damage. Yeah. And they each do some damage respectively. And then, of course, you do your howl. Just absolutely murder everything. So, yeah. And then once you finish, of course, you can just grab your rock. This first try. Bam. Yeah, that's for the most part what I have to go over. Here. Puzzles, flying enemy, damage, checkpoint, keybinds, and the HUDs. Yeah. So that's pretty much going to be it for mine. Again, since I was more of a floater, I did a little bit of everything here and there. I didn't basically focus on any one section of things. So, yeah, that's going to be all for me.
Hello, my name is Matthew Salazar, and this is my Sprint 1 review. My first task I've worked on was to rework my level. This ensued by shortening the level, creating a split that separates the tundra, the mountain path, and the side of the mountain, creating a boss area, creating blockers so that the player could not get out of the map, creating a small hiding bear, and creating the mountains. The blockers is used by these mountains that border the level. I originally created the mountains before I added the mountains path. And this area over here is a small hiding bear that is accessed by breaking the wall. And the boss area is on top of the massive mountain on top right here. The second task I worked on was to add foliage and hills. This is by adding trees, grass, and adding hills into the map. Each of these trees was individually placed, the grass was painted on, and the hills was created by using landscape. The third task was to add my breakable walls. I just had to add the breakable walls and add rocks around the breakable wall that separates the two sides of the map. One of the breakable walls is right here that are hiding a bear inside, as well as the rocks surrounding it. The other breakable walls are on the side of the mountain. I have two, one right here that connects into this tundra area, and the second breakable wall at the bottom that heads into a boss area that if you fail the wall run, you would have to go fight, and come back up. The third task was to add enemies and preys. I added the rabbits, the deers, the wolf boss, bears, cougars, and the birds. Birds were individually placed, as well as all enemies in the map. There are various prey for the player to fight, as well as hidden bosses scattered throughout the map. Let me try to get to the boss area. The other task I've worked on was to add throwable rocks. This just entails adding the rock piles, making sure rock piles are near breakable walls, and adding rock piles to the boss to allow a stun. I placed multiple around the boss area. There are also some along the map to use against enemies or prey that they see. Another task I've worked on was to add beehives to the level. This entails by just adding a beehive pickup near trees and ensuring the player that can use them around the level. Another task I've worked on was to expand the mountain path area. This entails by just adding an area where a player can go from one side of the mountain to the tundra, or from the side of the mountain to the actual mountain path. Also to create gaps between the mountains so that they can use a wall run to connect one side to the other, and connecting the mountain path to the boss area. Here's the connection that connects the mountain path to the boss area, and the gap that separates the mountain. If the player fails the wall run, there is a bear at the bottom, as well as they would have to fight a cougar after coming back up. Another task I worked on was to polish the wall run. Originally, the wall run was used to have to use shift to connect to the wall. I changed the coding to allow that the player can automatically connect to the wall, and it would trigger the wall run. Since this is one of the last levels, this would be considered a large wall run. That they are smaller, room to how they're gonna attack. The player can also use a dash against them to jump from water. Another task I worked on was to add campfires. The campfires are just placed around the map that the player can pick up a flaming stick and throw it at enemies. I added the campfires to certain areas and ensured that the campfires would be able to get picked up and used. These campfires are placed like the rock piles, just in certain spots that they would be able to get picked up and thrown.